Members? Yes? No, I just want to indicate my wish to speak. Well, wait for me to finish first. There's no hurry. All right, please write down Mr. Dennis Kwok. I don't know what item he's on, actually. Because our chairman, Mr. Vincent Fang, has to attend meetings of two subcommittees at the same time, and therefore he can't make it to this panel meeting for the time being. So I'll take the chair until he arrives, okay? Item 1 on the agenda, confirmation of minutes. Of a special meeting held on the 4th of November 2013 and the minutes of meeting held on the 18th of February 2014. They've been forwarded to members. The Secretary has not received any proposal for amendments so far. Do we have any proposal for amendments? No. Agenda number 2. All right, please confirm the minutes of the meetings. All right, those who are for confirming the minutes, hands up, please. No objection? Thank you. Item number 2, information papers issued since the last meeting. There are 3 from the Secretariat. One is a letter from the American Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong dated the 25th of March 2014 on updating of Hong Kong's copyright regime, paper number CB1184/1314-01. Another paper. Yes? Yes. Can you speak further away from the microphone? Thank you. Well, if even Ms. Emily Lau thinks that I speak too loudly, I believe it must be the case. All right? Is that okay? Okay. Feel free to let me know what you think. From the administration, there's a paper on the 19th working meeting of the Guangdong Hong Kong joint cooperation meeting, and also to work with the nation's 13th five-year plan, paper CB11258/1314-01. And then there is also a electrical brief on Central Africa regulations and Congo Democratic Republic regulations and Somalia amended regulations, paper CITB CR 75/53/8, CITB CR 75/53/4, and CITB CR 102/53/1. The American Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong has issued an invitation to us for us to attend a public dialogue on moving ahead with copyright reform in Hong Kong at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the 5th of May. All members who are interested are invited to fill out a reply slip. Please reply to the American Chamber of Commerce directly. Then we move on to item 3. Date of our next meeting and items for discussion. On the 17th of April, and that is the day after tomorrow, since we plan to make a duty visit to Israel, members are going to meet with Mr. Sajikani, the Consul General of Israel in Hong Kong, and the meeting is scheduled for the 17th of April at 9:30. Members are invited to attend and give your input to the meeting. May regular meeting will be held on the 20th of the month at 2:30. We've got two proposals for the meeting. First, redevelopment of IT systems of the intellectual property development. Item 1 on our list of outstanding items. And the other proposal is promotion of IP trading in Hong Kong. Number 2 on the list. All right. If there are no other comments, we'll go on to agenda item number 4. Progress report on the implementation of the dedicated fund on branding, upgrading, and domestic sales. Please invite the administration to join us now. Welcome, government representatives. Which of you will walk us through the paper, please? Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I will walk members through the paper, which has set out in details the implementation progress of the dedicated fund on branding, upgrading, and domestic sales, or the BUD fund, to capitalize on the opportunities arising from the National 12th Five-Year Plan. On the 25th of June 2012, the government introduced the 1 billion BUD fund to assist business organizations and research bodies and professional institutions to develop their brands, upgrade and restructure their operations, and promote domestic sales in the mainland. The fund has been in operation for about 2 years. As at end of March this year, we've dealt with 7 batches of application. 205 were under the Enterprise Support Program, and 38 were under the OSP Organization Support Programs, and they've been approved. The total amount of funding is around $213 million. 24 ESPs were approved with conditions. Most of the enterprises, or 94% of them, are SMEs. The paper has also set out an analysis of applications and approved projects, such as the nature of business, the distribution of industries, and also implementation, monitoring, and review of projects, as well as our publicity and promotion. I understand that some members are concerned about the administrative costs of the BUD fund and also the declaration of interest system. To avoid conflict of interest and to ensure that the vetting procedures is seen and is seen to be fair, objective, and transparent. Members of the IDC and PMC have got their declaration of interest systems. Earlier this year, the systems were enhanced and improved. Under the current system, when members were first appointed, and also on an annual basis, they have to register their personal interest with the Secretariat. And if a certain member has any direct personal or pecuniary interest or potential conflict of interest in respect of any application being vetted, he must make a declaration. Regarding Hong Kong Productivity Council, they have also got a firewall internally. Our staff responsible for the ESP Secretariat will not take part in the provision of consultancy service or the implementation of any application of approved project under the ESP, and therefore there would not be any possibility of conflict of interest. To further allay public concerns, The Hong Kong PC has started from the from the end of January last year. No longer provides consultancy service to any new approved projects under the ESP. So the Bud Fund has been operating smoothly so far, and the response from the industry is also very welcoming. We're willing to enhance our program, and we are happy to take questions from members. Thank you, Mr. Wong. All right, I now open the floor to members. 4 members have indicated their interest to speak. Mr. Guangdong, Martin Liu, Emily Lau, Zhong Kwok Pan, and Sin Chung Kang. 5 minutes each. Mr. Dennis Kwok. Thank you. Yes, I'm concerned that under the ESP, there are 14 members at the vetting panel, if my memory is correct. Many of them are related to enterprises that have got support under the ESP. While we don't query the integrity of the members of the vetting committee, some SMEs have complained to us that the vetting mechanism is not open and transparent, and people may query the integrity or will query the fairness of the program. While there is a declaration of interest system, members are not required to refrain from attending a certain meeting. So we're afraid that the system is not effective. And there should also be an interim review, given that the fund has been in operation for quite a while. Would the administration consider an interim review so that we know whether the fund has been able to achieve its original purpose and whether there is any room for improvement? Thank you. All right, the members referring to the ESP, but regarding SMEs are saying that they don't know about the vetting criteria. I think we are talking about 2 schemes, ESP, Enterprise Support Scheme. As part of the paper, we have a 3-tier approval system. First, the Secretariat, which is the Hong Kong PC, will carry out an initial vetting to see whether the basic criteria are met. And they will also assess the content of the applications.
And then the interdepartmental committee will vet the applications in the second stage to see if the proposal can meet the objective of and to apply for funding at FC. And the third stage would be the vetting committee, with membership comprising practitioners in the industry, and they act as members in their personal capacity. So for the first tier, any appointed members of the committee will have to declare their interest first. In terms of individual applications from enterprises, if this individual member is related to this enterprise or has business dealings with this enterprise, we will request that the member recuse from the vetting meeting in relation to the enterprise. If the member is a member of a certain trade association or chamber of commerce, or if the member is acquainted with another member who belongs to that enterprise, then he may have to recuse himself from the meeting, but that may not necessarily be the case. So if the interest declared in the view of the chairman is actually in conflict with the interest of the committee, members will be asked to recuse himself from the committee meeting. As for the interim report, every year we do report to this panel every year on our progress. I cannot promise directly that an interim report will be made because, according to our paper, many projects have just been approved and our number of projects completed, the number is not very high since the start of the scheme 2 years ago. So perhaps later we can come back and report to members whether these completed projects are actually in line with the objective of the scheme with the approval of LegCo. Next, Mr. Ong Teng Kwong. Thank you, Deputy Chairman. Now, about the Secretariat support for the ESP Enterprise Support Program is Hong Kong Productivity Council, whereas the Secretariat for OSP Organization Support Program is the Trade and Industry Department, TID. They actually stem from the same fund. Why are there two different secretarial support? Have you considered combining the two to achieve cost effectiveness? Another question for you, PS. Now, about ESP Underbud Fund, according to their requirement, their project has to be completed within 2 years. As for OSP, the requirement is that the project should be completed within 3 years. The project should, in the long run, bring significant changes in the market. However, this may not be achieved within just 2 or 3 years. Will the administration consider extending the relevant period? Also, we need to consider the quality of applicants. So my question is, for applications approved, if the projects cannot be completed within the period undertaken, will they be what will be the consequence? Will they be required to refund the sum, or what? Well, let me take this question. Before introducing the $1 billion BUD fund under the Trade and Industry Department, there is a support scheme for SMEs, and under that scheme, some non-profit sharing organizations were subsidized or assisted in helping the certain sectors or industries with their development and upgrading. And when we applied with LegCo for funding to introduce the $1 billion BUD fund, the justifications were that we already had this support scheme under TID, and that the scheme targeted non-profit sharing organizations. So for OSP, TID should continue to provide secretarial support because TID already had the similar experience and the nature was similar. As for ESP, we commissioned the Hong Kong Productivity Center Council to act as secretariat because in terms of developing brands, upgrading and restructuring, etc., they have all along been engaged in this work. So they have this experience. So at that time, we decided to commission HKPC to vet the relevant applications in the first stage. And as for the period, when we applied for funding with LegCo, we already stated that it would be for 24 months for ESP. As for whether we would ask the enterprises to submit a longer term proposal for promoting domestic sales in the mainland, their proposal may exceed 24 months. However, the funding allocated should allow the project to be completed within 24 months. Some projects may go beyond 2 years. It may go for as long as 5 years. But we need to monitor the progress before we decide whether to continue to allocate funding. And at that time, 5 years would be too long, and that's why we decided then that the period should be limited to 24 months. That is the period under which the enterprise were to apply for funding support. Now, we have had this experience. Some enterprises completely change the projects. For example, the company or the enterprise might have taken up a business order and decided to suspend the promotion of domestic sales. And we would ask for the rebate of the funds allocated, but in the future, it will be up to the PMC to decide in such circumstances whether to continue to allocate funding to the enterprise. So whether the funds should be refunded or not, that's decided on an individual case basis, and the committee will discuss over these issues instead of adhering to rigid rules. For example, to refund if the project cannot be completed in 3 years. We have had some cases in which originally they planned to kickstart the project in the beginning of this year, but for some reasons their projects had been delayed, and we did provide flexibility in allowing these projects to be rolled out later. Next, Mr. Martin Liao. According to the background brief prepared by the Electrical Secretariat on the BUD Fund, now as of March 2014, 31 applications have been approved under for ESP, and 11 applications have gone through the vetting stage. And however, there should be random checks to see the effectiveness of the projects. This is different. This is a different treatment from the existing practice of the HKPC. Maybe I'll defer to Deputy Director to take this question, Mr. Low. Now, on our monitoring work, let me take this question. There are two aspects. First of all, for the approved project, we check their progress against their undertakings, and then we would check their progress and see, for example, for seminars and exhibitions, we monitor their progress and see whether they completed these events according to their schedule. And also, for seminars and exhibitions, we would attend these events so that we can check on the spot their progress. So we do monitor the progress of projects on these two fronts. No follow-up. Next, Mr. Felix Zhong. Thank you, Madam Chair. For this $1 billion BUD fund, the feeling is quite good because it seeks to help develop brands and promote domestic sales. It was introduced 2 years ago, and the projects have yet to be completed, and according to PS, therefore, there is no interim report. However, PS, may I ask once again whether you can seriously consider this point in your interim review? Now, we see the range of funding involved for these applications between 15,000 to 500,000, as little as 15,000. What could be done to promote brands? I'm also engaged in promoting brands and promoting domestic sales, and the amount of money involved is very huge. Of course, we can't ask the administration to give too much funding support for the development of enterprises. And according to the administration, this scheme is open, fair, and transparent. But this simply is not sufficient. I don't believe this would actually give much help to enterprises with such little funding support. So please consider whether you can actually help them promote and develop their brands instead of spending the money and not seeing any result and not helping any enterprise. P.S. Now, as set out in the paper, the amount of grants per approved application is around 430,000. Now, some amounts were quite low because members might recall that at the time of funding application, we explained to LegCo that we would undertake two kinds of projects. Some projects would, some enterprises would develop their brands and promote domestic sales by themselves under the project. As for the other type, we explained at the time of funding application to LegCo that some enterprises might not have the manpower to have the expertise to judge whether they could be in a position to develop brands and promote sales themselves, and they would engage a consultant to examine this. And if my memory serves me right about this case of 15,000, actually that enterprise spent $30,000 in commissioning a consultant, but this case was not very common. That's why the average amounts of grants, 430,000, is quite close to the highest amounts of 500,000. For cases involving smaller amounts, 15,000 or so, these cases were quite few.
What about whether upon a review of the two of the Bud Fund, you can change this position, this strategy of evening out the funding support to a lot of enterprises? We will consider whether the applicants are able to deliver their plans and whether the plan can really help the enterprise to upgrade its brand or develop its brand and promote domestic sales. We've approved about 30-odd applications. Many of them, it's not that we don't want to help them. Rather, it depends on whether the application itself is effective or worthwhile. We will consider very seriously whether the applicant has got a worthwhile plan. We'll try to assist plans that we think are feasible as far as possible. I think Mr. Zhong understands that this is not really making the money available to all applications. I think he is asking whether your money can really do what it is intended to do, and members would like you to review the current strategy. I think it's okay for you to change the strategy. All right, when we come back next year, when we have more completed projects, we'll have more information to brief members on the effectiveness of the fund, because we've got not too many completed projects yet. Next time, when we have more, we can do a better analysis. Thank you. I will give the chair to Mr. Vincent Fang, who has just arrived. Perhaps you can finish this item first, so I don't have to come up. But it's now Miss Emily Lau's turn. Doesn't matter. She is your good friend. All right, Madam Chair, you want Mr. Vincent Fang to deal with me. You know, I enjoy good cooperation with Mr. Vincent Fang. All right, I'd like to ask about conflict of interest. I believe the PS understand that we're very concerned about that. Recently, the Central Western District Council has caused a lot of problem using funding from the government. All right, you ask people to declare interest, and yet the member can sit on and funding is still granted to these applications. And according to the paper, the chairman may do this or that, but this is not mandatory. It is rare for a declaration system to be like that. And I'd like to know whether they have closed meetings like the Central and Western, and then will they finally resort to approval by circulation? Because for applications that failed, they are of course not too happy. So can you tell us whether the rules are fair and open? And Chairman, regarding developing domestic sales on the mainland, that's okay. But members of the public would like to know how will our community benefit from such projects. For instance, how many more jobs have been created? Yes, these enterprises may make a lot of profits on the mainland. Do they have to pay tax here? I don't know. I'd like to know how our economy can directly benefit. And please refer me to the paragraph that have set out the benefits to Hong Kong. P.S. I think you heard the questions very clearly. Yes, let me explain once again. There is a two-tier system for declaration of interests. That is written. There are written rules. A member, once appointed, is required to register in writing his personal interest in different different companies. And when dealing with actual applications, if a committee member has any direct interest in respect of that application being vetted, he cannot take part in the vetting of the case. This is very clear, and is also the practice. The member is required to be excused, refrain from attending that part of the meeting. If the person in charge of an enterprise is the member of a certain chamber of commerce, and also another member is also a member of the same chamber of commerce, and if they know one another, they have to declare that relationship. However, they just happen to be an executive of a certain chamber of commerce, or they are members of the same chambers of commerce. There may not be real conflict of interest. So they first have to declare interest, and it is for the chairman to decide whether mere declaration suffice, or would they have to leave the meeting at that point. Now, regarding the benefits to Hong Kong, I remember that when the fund was approved, a similar question was asked. Please refer to the paragraph relevant. I think it was set out in the FC paper. So in our application forms, we require enterprises to tell us services that would be hired in Hong Kong, and also the estimated number of jobs to be created in Hong Kong. For instance, we have vetted 205 approved projects. According to their declarations, They will make use of management, logistics, R&D, and accounting personnel in Hong Kong. In the first year, they will create 250 new job opportunities. Should the business continue to prosper, and other 300 odd jobs will be created. We have sought such information from the applications. All right. Will the administration check whether they will do as proclaimed, or do you have anything in your system to ensure that you will check whether they deliver on their promise? And if they don't, what will be the consequence? Frankly speaking, now I understand members' concern, but then the purpose of the Bud Fund is not to create job opportunities in Hong Kong. So while we seek such information, our focus is on whether the enterprise is going to do what's in their plan. For instance, in the coming 1 or 2 years, the new plants that would be purchased, we will have them tell us. They have to tell us when the machine was purchased, if they want ISO, when ISO was obtained, if they like to register their brand name when, and these are checkpoints in their plans. If they can deliver these targets, then the money would be dispersed to them. And whereas certain advertising agency will be employed in Hong Kong, yes, this information is relevant, though not the crux of the matter. Let's say an enterprise said that they would hire a team in Hong Kong from promotion, then hiring a team is one of the important indicators. But if it is not, then we will not deduct money from the disbursement. There must be some direct benefit to our economy. No, I think they say that among the 200 odd approved projects, they will employ 300 odd employees. And I think you should let the PS answer. Let the PS answer. Yes, I understand the honourable member's concern, but let's say if enterprise claimed that it would employ a designer in Hong Kong, if it is within the plan, then they have to be accountable, give us an account afterwards. If another plan says that if my business continue to develop, then in another year's time, I'm going to employ 3 more employees, and it's hard for us to deduct money from the enterprise if it doesn't. So you're saying that you only disperse money to the company after they have completed the milestones, or what's it in the plan? Yes, in the plan. For instance, an enterprise says that in the coming 12 months, I'm going to develop another new product for domestic sales, and I'm going to employ a designer and engineer in Hong Kong to do that, because this is already in the budget or in the plan. For instance, the salary to paid to an employee, to an engineer for 12 months, and a salary for the designer for 12 months. So if the employees are not employed subsequently, then we'll not give them the money. But I hope that you make your requirements more substantive, so that there can be real benefits to our economy. When we come back next year, when we report to the panel once again, I hope we can have more cases by then, and I will tell members to see whether members are happy with our way of presentation. All right. I think Ms. Hamley Lau shares Mr. Dennis Kwok's question, and that is how the fund is going to contribute to Hong Kong's GDP. So please think how you can show us that. Next, Mr. Sin Chung Kai. My question is about para 1516. All right, you're waiting for some of the cases. You're waiting for their reports. Will you, for instance, require the enterprise or the organization to submit a written final report to be uploaded to the website? Will, for instance, require each organization to give a 30-minute presentation to report on their the outcome of their plans, and then you can have a website so that the public can monitor the programs. Thank you. For OSP, we require the relevant organization to submit a midterm and final report. And once the report is submitted to the Secretariat, it will be passed on to the vetting committee to check the progress. If the progress is satisfactory, then the only if it is satisfactory that another round of funding would be dispersed to the organization. And once the whole project is completed, we'll have a final report to see whether the organization has completed the project as planned. Again, this will be for the vetting committee to examine. And if the project is not fully completed, there's the possibility of asking the organization concerned to refund our sponsorship. A summary of all the reports will be put on our website for public scrutiny.
Now, one last question. This is a summary, not a report, but I asked for a summary. And the question, first of all, is whether the whole report will be uploaded on the website. And the second question is about, say, sharing sessions, whether PowerPoint presentations would be required so that you can videotape them for sharing online, because this is a $1 billion fund. So after supporting these enterprises, you should check their progress and allow some sharing to be done. This additional cost should not be great. This additional requirement would only require them some more time to prepare the PowerPoint presentation. All right, do more in terms of publicity. Thank you for your comment as to whether the report would be made available online. We can consider it, but under the existing mechanism, these subsidized projects would have to be shared with the trade in terms of their experience, including making available the content online and inviting SMEs to take part in sharing sessions. There are already certain relevant requirements in the existing mechanism. All right, there will be a website dedicated to this scheme, and through their own channels, they would be sharing their experience. And the 30-minute clip can then be sent to you for uploading onto your website. So I hope you get what I am talking about, because I will be asking for a report and whether there will be a video sharing session. All right, you've noted the members' comment. Any other members who have not spoken? If not, we can move on to item 5 of the agenda. And before I do that, I will invite Mr. Vincent Fang, Chairman, to come up and chair the remaining part of the meeting.
多謝副主席幫我做替工。
Thank you, Deputy Chair, for standing in for me.
跟住落嚟就係議程。
All right, next item, item 5, proposed implementation of the recommendations of the task force on manpower development of the retail industry. So, should I first invite the administration in, or oh, they're here already? So, Permanent Secretary. Well, Chairman, perhaps I'll briefly say a few words. Chairman, as you understand, the retail industry is an important economic sector in Hong Kong, and it accounts for 1% of the employed population in the private sector. In recent years, we have seen an increasing tight manpower situation in the retail industry. In this year's budget speech, the Financial Secretary has announced the government's acceptance of the task force recommendations, and there will be an additional allocation of $130 million to implement the relevant measures to relieve the tight manpower situation in the retail industries. There are 5 areas concerning this task force recommendations. The government and the private sector and other stakeholders will all be involved in implementing these measures. As far as the administration is concerned, we will make use of existing resources and platforms in promoting the existing measures, including adopting a good people management policy and also providing targeted recruitment, employment and placement services for the retail industry. As for the remaining areas, we need extra resources. For these 3 fronts, it includes, first of all, strengthening the VTC or supporting the VTC in rolling out the new pilot earn and learn scheme, which targets secondary 6 leavers. They will be given subsidy under the earn and learn scheme so as to provide another pathway for students or student workers and to bring new blood to the industry. And also, there will also be the setting up of a Retail Technologies Adoption Fund for Manpower Demand Management, RTAF. SMEs will be targeted. Matching fund will be matching fund model will be adopted with funding support capped at $50,000 per enterprise. There will also be $10 million funding for image upgrading activities with the sector to attract more young people in joining the industry. Well, for the measures I mentioned, with member support, we would like to seek approval from the FC in mid-May so that these measures can be rolled out by mid-July before the announcement of the DSE results, and that the Earn and Learn pilot scheme can be rolled out, and also other relevant schemes can be rolled out by the end of this year. I'm happy to take questions from members. Five minutes each. The first one, Mr. Sin Chung Kai. Chairman, on the whole, I support this initiative, and I support you submitting this to the FC. It can attract more young people to join the retail industry, and retail industry may involve some professional knowledge. For example, the salesperson might need to have some product knowledge. The customers may ask about the products and the difference between products, and you can't sell if you don't know anything about the products. So on enhancing the quality of manpower in the industry, I support it. Now you talked about secondary 6 school leavers. I don't oppose the idea of targeting secondary 6 leavers. But at the same time, I think you can also widen your target group. Some students in other forms can also be considered. For secondary 6 leavers, that may be your main target, but for other, say for other school leavers, you can also consider including them. As for image lifting, I also support it. As for the training schemes, I wonder if they will be targeting different sectors of the industry. Sometimes salesmen or salesperson in different trades may require different knowledge. For example, a computer salesperson may have different set of knowledge than a jewelry salesperson. Let me take this question. Now we're asking for funding for the 2 VTC schemes. The first one is the foundation diploma program. The other is a high diploma program. Both programs target secondary 6 leavers. They can enroll in different programs based on their academic results. And recently, the qualifications framework for the retail industry has been formulated, and we can base our plan on different levels of the QF. As for other school leavers or secondary school leavers, apart from secondary 6 leavers, yes, we have measures for them in the paper. Apart from this pilot earn and learn scheme, in para 13 there is a pilot traineeship scheme also launched by VTC, which targets secondary 3 students. Now, we always talk about secondary 3 leavers or secondary 6 leavers, but it doesn't mean that they're actually students or recent school leavers. They actually refer to those with attainment at these levels. As long as they meet the requirement, they can take part in these programs. On raising the image, in fact, under the traineeship scheme, which targets secondary 3 or students with secondary 3 level, once these candidates are enrolled, there will be trade-specific training for them, which targets at product-specific or trade-specific learning. And these students can be given this pathway to further their studies, should they wish to do so in the future. Mr. Charles Mock. Now, about the scheme to support the retail industry, I support it. I note that $50 million will be allocated to set up the RTAF, the Retail Technologies Adoption Fund for Manpower Demand Management, and this is for helping manage manpower demand. So I wonder if this confines the area of the application of the fund, whether it can only be applied to manpower demand management, or whether other forms of applied technologies in the retail industry can be also eligible. For example, I see some examples mentioned in the paper in Annex E, RFID, electronic payment system, inventory system, etc., etc. However, I think one thing is missing. In Asia, throughout the world, in the mainland, for the retail industry, the latest trend is online retail, like Taobao and other online websites. Now, electronic commerce is not very successful in Hong Kong, although it's successful in the mainland. So will anything be done to help the SMEs in Hong Kong to make use of these technologies to tap new markets instead of operating retail shops? The other question is about HKPC as the secretariat. Now, my question is about the fees charged by HKPC. Is it covered by the 50 million, or will there be additional funding for the HKPC so that the SMEs will not be affected? Well, let me take the easier question first, Chairman. The $50 million includes the fees for HKPC to provide secretariat support for RTAF. Roughly how much? Roughly 5 million, but we believe around 1,000 SMEs can be assisted under the fund. So that's the first question. So it's not capped at 10%. That means the maximum is 5 million. We discussed with the HKPC, and the figure of $5 million is the roughly the cost of vetting applications, and this will roughly be the fees paid to HKPC for the vetting and follow-up work, so on and so forth.
The funding cap for each company is $50,000, but we believe that it may not be fully taken up by certain companies, and so we hope that the pilot scheme can help about 1,000 SMEs. Mr. Mok asked about the technologies involved. In fact, Annex E is not an exhaustive list. However, these proposals will be submitted to the FC of the Council, and it's all because of the tight manpower situation in the retail industry. So we have a series of measures meant to mitigate the manpower shortage in the retail industry, and we hope that technology deployed can help to lessen the reliability on manpower. Mr. Moka asked whether online shopping can help to lessen their manpower demand. Yes, I certainly can consider that in the future. I hope you can be flexible in vetting such applications. As you said here, even technologies not listed here can be considered. So if I hope you can be more generous and list out more technologies in this annex. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, I think there are various reasons leading to manpower shortage in the retail industry, and therefore I support the funding application to the FC. However, I think we should not just train frontline retail employees. We should also train the middle management and even bosses to let them know why there is a manpower shortage. Apart from market forces, I think there's something to do with the management of the retail industry, because the working conditions are harsh. Have you noticed that for retail employees, they have to stand on the feet from morning to night, with the exception of those working in goldsmiths or jewelry shops? So management persons have to improve the working conditions of people in this industry? And why do young people don't like this industry? Because other than sales technique, it is also about communication skills and interpersonal skills. A lot of skills is required, and the emotion of the employees is also important. If I just had a quarrel with my wife, you can't expect me to appear cheerful when faced with customers. So I think the management have to gradually coach their employees. And secondly, the pay. The compensation package is rather low and also unreliable. It fluctuates. The wage system is such that it is a basic salary plus a commission or bonus. So during peak seasons, the bonus or the commissions may even be higher or be manifold of the basic salary. But when the time is slack, then the basic salary won't be able to make ends meet. So I think there must be some adjustment. So a management technique is just as important. So I suggest that you ask training service providers to provide courses for management and for employers. You should give them tips on manpower management. Thank you. Yes, I think Mr. Wong has pointed out many of the problems facing the retail industry. I agree with him entirely. There are representatives from the management sector of the retail industry in the working group, but it is hard for the government to dictate how the industry should compensate their workers and what should be their mode of operation because of the many different industries involved. While we call them collectively the retail industry. The task force spent a lot of time discussing this, and I think employers' representatives fully understand that these issues have to be addressed by the industry. We hope that through the platform under the Labor Department, there is a tripartite body with representatives from the government, from employers and employees, so that they can continue to discuss good practices in the industry so as to make the industry more attractive to employees. While the programs proposed are mainly for employees or trainees, we hope that there are modules to on customer service, on interpersonal skills, and also management skills. A supervisor or a manager may has under him a team of sales assistants, and he has to be taught such skills, and we will ask the relevant service providers to follow up on these proposals. Thank you. Mr. Kotwaker. Thank you. The Task Force on Manpower Development of the Retail Industry has a number of recommendations to improve the industry's image. Because 10 years ago, the number of persons engaged in the trade was 200,000, and that it rose to 260,000 odd, or equivalent to an increase of 1/4 last year. This shows that the industry itself is attractive to to workers because we've all benefited from the IVS and the tourism development of tourism industry. So people all want to share in this prosperity. While you have attracted so many new workers, you still say that there is a shortfall. Why? I think we, the trade union, notices that this industry is okay if you want to make a quick buck, but there is no career prospect. I can work for a decade and still I am a sales assistant. I might be promoted to a senior store assistant, but still there is no career progression. I might have accumulated seniority and earn a few more $1,000s per month. But I think if I were a young man, I would only work in this industry for a few years, accumulate, make some savings and leave. So the important thing is to retain personnel. So among the $30 million, you're going to spend $10 million on training. I have no objection to that, and I don't mind if you spend money to raise the industry's image. But why are you providing only 400 to 500 places while you are so thousands of workers short? And it would take more than 10 years before you can train enough to fill the vacancies. In fact, most of the proprietors are making money because of the booming tourism industry. If they want to use IT to upgrade their business, that is okay. I think they can make the investment themselves. So they own $130 million. Why is it that $50 million will be given to companies to upgrade their technology? Is it really necessary? Because I think you are sharing that $130 million to employees half-half. So why don't you provide more training places? And this pilot earn and learn scheme, I think the pay is not attractive enough. I think you have set the minimum pay. It is equivalent to statutory minimum wage for the retail industry. If you say that you have too many vacancies, why don't you offer more attractive remuneration? So the boss will pay about $4,800. And that $1,100 to the VTC, I think is just deducted from employees' pay. Instead of $6,000, you take away $1,100 to VTC. So even if a trainee has completed the scheme, he can only at most earn $11,000. In fact, the average pay is already $10,900. So what's the safeguard here? How much does a trainee get in return after training? Of course, you understand that big companies and SMEs have their respective manpower problems. However, I think for training of SMEs, I don't think that will help the retail industry too much. Of course, we want to promote or increase the career prospects of this industry, because it's not just about attracting manpower, but retention as well. So after working as a store assistant for a few years, a person may be promoted to a senior sales assistant. And what next? We want to provide a very clear career progressing pathway so that young people have certainty. They will know what career prospects they have in this industry. And after they have taken a certain course, and after working a few years, if they want to upgrade themselves, they can enroll in another course and even join the management sector in the future. To retain personnel, we have to give them the idea that there is prospect in this industry. After all, it's just a pilot scheme. Whether it is successful or not will depend on we don't know whether this foundation diploma program to be offered by VTC is successful. We don't know. We can only tell when there is admission in September. So if it is attractive or successful, we'll see what we can do more. Anyway, we're talking about 2 pilot schemes. There's $70 million and $20 million for running the pilot schemes. Yes, the honourable member referred to the median pay. Still, we are talking about new graduates, student workers aged at around 19, 20 who have just completed a program. Of course, we have to bear in mind that there are different sectors in the retail industry. For someone who has completed 18 months of training, I don't think that 11,000 per month is too low. We are talking about the salary of new entrants instead of the median income.
Assembly Lab. Yes, Chairman. Very often I hear employers complaining they can't recruit employees, and sometimes they have criticisms for young employees, and they always leave the jobs very soon. If something can be done to attract more young people to join the industry, so that young people can be in employment, and so that employers can find the helpers, then this is good. Now, Chairman, I'm looking at the unemployment rate of young people. In Chapter 3, youth unemployment is 14.2 and 10% respectively. Very high. That means, Permanent Secretary, please explain to us what happened. Chairman, are we talking about hidden youth or stay-at-home youth? And I also hear complaints from parents that the young people often need to work in harsh conditions. They need to stand throughout the day, etc. And sometimes parents would ask their children not to quit the job. We have families with fewer children nowadays, and they love the children very much. And also, there are people who live in more remote areas who are less flexible with working hours. Can we also include them as part of our workforce, such as women? Yes. When we prepare our, when the task force prepared the report, the task force considered where we saw a tight manpower situation, which sectors, and where we could recruit more manpower. And for young people between 15 and 24, there are some who are still undecided on their career path, and our objective is to attract this group of young people to join the retail industry. For this industry, there are shortcomings. They might need to work on the general holidays. They might need to work at night and work for long hours. So these are the inherent shortcomings. What we want to do is to raise the industry's image and also to provide a career prospect for newcomers so that they see a future in the industry. And only by doing these two can we really attract more people to join the industry. When we have the career prospect, when we have formed the career framework, we can, which we have done so, we can then roll out these measures on this occasion to attract new blood. And employers nowadays need to spend more time in coaching young people. We do tell employers that student workers under the scheme need to work for 3 days and study for another 3 days, and it's not certain whether they will stay in their jobs on graduation after 18 months. And that very much depends on the conditions offered by the employers. For the second part of the question, as I said in the opening remarks, we don't need to seek funding from the FC for this initiative, as mentioned by the member just now. We understand that there are people who, for reasons, could not work full-time, but they can work for, say, 4 to 6 hours a day, and then for the remaining time they would take care of the families. So we try to locate job opportunities at the district level through job fairs, job matching programs. We try to help these people find jobs within their districts so that they don't need to travel far away. And there will be district-based job fairs, and we have discussed with employers about vacancies in various districts, and job matching will be carried out on a district basis, so that these workers can also join the workforce. Now, for those, will the employers be willing to hire workers who can't work full time? They're willing to do it. There are many employers already doing it. Next, Ms. Chen Yunhan. Chairman, you're the employer. I am the employee. We view this report positively. Well, it's often been said that this industry has a tight manpower situation, but I think it's an exaggeration. Like Madam Mac said, she only worked for a few days, and her joints became rigid, and she had to work day and night non-stop, stocking the shelves, etc., etc. We're not robots. We can't work at the cash register and then at the inventory and back at the cash register again. The work conditions is so harsh, and the employer should review the work condition. In the 60s and 70s, our employers were very good. We were allowed to attend night classes and further our studies, and we were allowed to work flexibly to finish school or finish classes before we attended work. But now, for larger corporations, they just buy employees' time with money. As for this report, as PS accurately puts it, there are inherent shortcomings. For retail industry practitioners, they work during holidays and they have no rest time. Now, for some employees in larger department stores, they work for years. That's because their employers are understanding. But for smaller companies, that's not the case. Well, from the government's figures, we see that there is a substantial increase in the manpower in the retail industry. I'm not blaming the young. Some enterprises are very committed. Now, in the past, our bosses used to help us form a football team so that all young workers can join the football team, and we had a good time. Can we do something like that? But now employers are not like what they used to be. They deprived workers of their rest time, for their time to study or to play sports. They just buy employees' time with money. So employees in Hong Kong are aggrieved. There are many young workers in retail shops. Now, they receive pay cuts during the financial tsunami. And the employers were asked to sign an undertaking that when the economy improved, they would be given a pay rise. And Michael Tian at that time agreed. But for other employers, let me share with you, we had an undercover operation. We deployed someone and worked in the supermarket for 2 days, and the work conditions were really poor. So if you don't believe me, don't just believe the report. If you don't believe me, go ask your child to work in a supermarket so that they can tell you what is the work condition in the supermarket. So the FTU has conducted a study, and according to this report, and as mentioned by Mr. Kwok Wai Keung, the workforce in Hong Kong saw an increase of 9.5% between 2003 and 2013. But for the retail industry, the number of persons engaged increased from some 210,000 to 217,000. So you should ask larger corporations which do not care about their workers. And let me give you another example. During the Industrial Revolution, workers work like robots, and that's what happened to us. I hope panel members will also understand the plight of employees in the retail industry. For young people, it's not the case that they don't wish to join the retail industry. It's a good place for them. I just want to advise everyone not to fall into this trap.
Second
round, Mr. Kwok Wai Keung. We don't have much time left. Thank you, Chairman. I want to supplement. Now, I talked about something more general, and I'd like to talk about the specifics. And we really hope the employers can walk the extra mile, and this initiative can be taken further. For employers engaged in this pilot scheme, we hope that they can be required to employ these graduates for some time. Now, training courses are good, but it is more important for employers to give them training opportunities. So employers should not be given the discretion whether they should be given training or not, or because we are concerned about the gold-digging mindset of employers. They may keep on changing employees until they find the best candidate. I don't think this is a good mindset. On the contrary, the employer should stick with the same employee for quite some time so that they can get more experience, and so that training can then be provided, and more in-depth training and on-the-job training can be provided. Only by doing so can career prospect be given to the employee, etc. Instead of switching employees every year when the candidates graduate. Like I said, this is a pilot scheme. If if employers support their employees in participating in the VTC's training schemes, after 18 months on graduation, employers may give the undertaking to employ the employee at a salary of $11,000. But that also hinges upon the performance of the trainee during the 18-month training period. Now, but the reality is there is a tight manpower situation. So employers are pressurized for student workers who have gone through the 18-month scheme and they work for 3 days and receive a salary similar to somebody working full-time. Will there be any cap on the quotas given to each employer? Some employers may be concerned that they might not have chosen the best candidate. So my first question is whether there is a quota. Secondly, at least employers should be able to choose at least 2 trainees. Shouldn't that be a requirement? Now, we don't have a cap at the moment. The time is quite short. We hope that by September this can be rolled out, and we're still discussing with some employers who might employ a batch of dozens of student workers to take part in these earn and learn scheme. But the employers should be required to retain these candidates so as to give them more in-depth training.
Yes, this is a pilot scheme, and let's wait and see whether the scheme is effective or not. It's not easy to find new blood to join the industry. Let's see how many student workers we have, and before we say how many of them are willing to join the industry. Now, I'd like to respond to a member who's also a trade union member. I'm in the retail industry. I think I have a closer idea. I think I have a better idea of what the industry is like. Now, if we have a student worker under the Earn and Learn scheme, we will certainly not be treasure hunting. If we have a worker, we are more than happy to employ him after he has completed training. And then Madam Chen talked about robot-like jobs. I think that will only happen in supermarkets, but for ordinary store assistants, the work nature is not like that. Supermarkets are using part-time workers. They understand that a cashier will not be able to work continuously for 8 hours. So usually after 4 hours of work, the employees is allowed a short rest, and then afterwards they may work for another 4 hours. Now, if the working conditions are too harsh and if employers are too mean, I think they only have themselves to blame, because they certainly cannot keep their employees. So, Madam Chair, let me tell you that there are very few mean employers in the market. And thank you for mentioning me. For my employees, I really treat them very well. We pamper them because we rely on our sales assistants to sell our products. If we lose a sales assistant who has established good relations with our customers, we would lose a lot if she leaves our company. So you offer training under your schemes, but as mentioned by some members, will you leave some time for product-specific training? For instance, if I want to sell electronic products after I have completed training, I want to sell beauty care products. Different products have different sales techniques. So will you, towards the end of a program, provide product-specific training? This is a VTC program. In fact, VTC is running another program called the Pilot Traineeship Scheme, which will offer trade-specific training. For instance, in the jewelry trade, you need different, or you need trade-specific or product-specific knowledge. So when a student has moved on to the second stage, for some trade-specific courses, it will be about 9 months or 6 months. All right, Madam Chair, I give you the floor. Time is limited. Thank you very much, Chairman. I agree that some employers are very humane and compassionate, and these companies are welcome. Well, now we don't have too many Japanese companies which are very caring employers. When they even offered a common room for employees to take short breaks. Now, for some employers, they find it easy to employ employees, but some not so easy. So if the working conditions are appalling and wages are low, then these employers should reflect on them. And as for the two so-called spies we sent on undercover operations to supermarkets, well, they were certainly not so well treated as suggested by the chairman. They had to work for 10 hours non-stop in the supermarket. And then duty-free used to offer a lot of training. Back then, there were a lot of Japanese shoppers, and duty-free offered a lot of training for employees to give them career progression. Their employers that have measures to retain employees. It is important that you can retain manpower in the industry. As for trainees or apprentices, I don't know whether this is the right name to call young people. I don't know whether young people like this name. I did ask some young people in the service industries, well, when there is subsidy from the government, then employers are willing to employ young people. Now, I asked young people why they like to join hairdressing trade, because they want to acquire skill, and they want to become a hairstylist. That's a good name. And if you call these apprentices, I don't know whether they like it or not. I'm sure they are employers with heart, and you should use them as examples of good employers to show the industry. So please be scientific. P.S. Why is it so difficult for the industry to recruit people? I think I have views different from the task force. Now, if you say that if the two schemes fail, you're going to import labor, there will be a lot of objection. Let me tell you, young people like to join the retail industry. They can dress decently. They can dress fashionably. So I think you should face up to their feelings. Please do not just listen to one side of the story. How do you address these issues? I'm afraid we have overrun too much, Madam Chen. I cannot allow the PS to answer you. Mr. Wong Kin-cha. Now, this is not the manpower panel or the labor advisory board. Here, we should not talk about labor relations and how employers should do, what they should do to retain employees. Rather, we talk about funding application to train manpower for the retail industry. I hope Madam Chen Yunhan can take note of this. Thank you. So, P.S., I think you understand that in general we are supportive of your funding request. And I hope you can get everything done by July. You have to pass the FC, and I wish you good luck. I hope you can start the programs as soon as possible. Thank you.
跟住落嚟就
Next. Item 6, proposal to establish the Innovation and Technology Bureau.
咁喺我哋講之前呢，我哋收到兩樣，一個
We have got a motion from Mr. Wong Ting-kwong and also a proposal from Mr. Charles Mock, and they are both tabled. Ms. Wong Ting-kwong, can I keep your motion until the very end of the meeting? No problem. I've already distributed the motion to members. Yes, I'll have it photocopied to all members of the panel. Now, can we extend the meeting by 30 minutes until 5 p.m., okay? First, let us welcome the secretary and your big team. Let me skip the introduction because I'm sure we've all got the attendance list. So are you going to walk us through the paper? Yes, very briefly. In his policy address delivered in January, the CE announced the establishment of the Innovation and Technology Bureau so that we can, at a very high level, formulate policies for development of innovation and technology in Hong Kong. As we all know, resources are limited. However, ideas are nearly limitless. Ideas and innovation can create health and can be the central driver of economic growth. Innovation and technology can enhance efficiency in the business sector in particular and lower productivity costs to benefit everyone. The new IT Bureau will enhance innovation and technological development and policy support in an extensive manner. I'd like to show you the existing organization chart of the CEDB. Speakers off mic. Chairman. In fact, we have many members here that are also members of the IT panel. So we saw this PowerPoint yesterday, so please don't waste time. Time is precious. All right. So 2 members heard this presentation yesterday. Do you think I should continue? Also, please be as concise as possible. Everything is in the paper. Okay, very briefly. The existing organization chart of the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau is, now we have got 2 bureau branches. We have one permanent secretary responsible for commerce, for communications and technology, and other PS responsible for commerce, industry, and tourism. Mr. Ho is the PS responsible for communications technology. And now you see the lines are in black, the red lines. we will have the Commissioner for Innovation and Technology and also Government Chief Information Officer. These two branches will be moved to the new proposed IT Bureau. So, and as a result, the CIB will be renamed Communications and Creative Industries. And this is the proposed organization chart of the CCIB. The two branches are now moved to the new bureau. There will be a new commissioner, a new secretary, and also one permanent secretary, and also political assistants. There will also be a new PS, and also AS and PS. So there will be a directorate officer responsible to be the political assistant. So here there will be 3 appointed politically appointed officers, 4 directorate grade officers, and 7 non-directorate posts. So 8 of the posts will be vied from the existing CEDB, so there will be 26 new posts. I pause here and I welcome questions from members. Thank you. Ms. Emily Lau. Thank you. Chairman, yesterday I did not speak at the panel meeting. However, Mr. Sin Chung Kai has already stated the position of our party. Now, if you take a look at the last 2 charts, one is called Communications and Creative Industries Bureau, and the other is called Innovation and Technology Bureau, ITB. In fact, creative industries perhaps should also come under innovation, ITB. So I think they should be grouped together. Some say that creative and communications industries are innovation and technology, but perhaps you think that this is too sensitive and you should not ask the new bureau to take care of that. Now there is another lawsuit going on.
Yesterday you heard much, and perhaps you didn't have time to explain everything. Now you have time to explain to us. Now, in relation to innovation or creative industries, shouldn't they be put together so that we can more actively consider your proposal? Mr. Wong Ting Kwong has moved a motion urging us to support him, but I definitely will not support him. Secretary. Now, simply put, our objective is to give more room for this new Innovation Technology Bureau to develop technology. As to whether creative industries should be put under IT Bureau as well, you can say that creative industries are along with other sectors of the economy like logistics and financial services, so on and so forth, they may have to do with technology. So it may not be appropriate to put everything under the IT Bureau. We should set up the IT Bureau first, and then we will consider the way forward and the resources required to support the Bureau. And in the future, we will keep all options open to see how we can make arrangements to improve things. And in the past, we did have improvements over certain structure of the structure of certain organizations. So perhaps we should take the first step. Chairman, I don't know what he means by the first step. Well, we need to spend a lot of money to establish this bureau, and we should really think carefully before we proceed with it. Don't ask the electoral to approve your proposal and consider later. It's outrageous. If things should be put together. Then you should revise your proposal and come back to us. Don't tell us to ignore the details and approve your funding application and report back to us next year. How can I support you? Perhaps the PS can explain the technical details, how the proposed structure can tie in with our future development. All right. Permanent Secretary. Now, about Innovation and Technology Bureau. It is about applying technology innovatively or creating innovative ideas. Many sectors of the economy rely on technology, as mentioned by Secretary. For creative industries, they include a wide area: film, design, digital entertainment, music, architecture, printing, so on and so forth. They rely on technology as well. This is true, but whether simply because they deploy apply technology in the sectors that we should put it under the IT Bureau, there is room for argument. We can refer to the experience in other jurisdictions. For example, in UK, in Australia, the creative ideas, creative industries come under culture branch or culture bureau, not under the technology branch. And in South Korea, they have the Futures Ministry, its purview includes creative industries. So many industries have to do with technology, but whether they should be put under the IT Bureau is another matter. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, thank you, Chairman. I'm really irritated by your explanation. I think the Innovation and Technology Bureau should be positioned to engage in R&D, and then it is for the business and our commerce and industrial sector to apply the R&D result. So the IT Bureau should be focused on R&D and inventions, and we talk about all the details. For example, animation. We used to have hand drawings. Now we have computer drawings. So in terms of developing animation and comics, it has to do with the IT Bureau, but about turning them into film, animation films, etc., this should be done by the commerce and industrial sector. So I don't think the IT Bureau should include too many operational details. They will get in the way of scientists. Scientists should be given more time and more space to do their research and development. So everything in our life relates to technology. Can we say that even manpower can come under IT Bureau? So when the administration explains their reasons, they should make the justifications easier to understand. Now, the way I put it, I think the general public would be able to grasp the idea. Now, my question is this. You have this new bureau, and my views are quite different from Ms. Emily Lau's. But anyway, I think we should set up this bureau. You need to seek the support of ITB panel and CI panel, and then ESC, Establishment Subcommittee, for funding to create posts, and to FC, the Finance Committee. So don't delay your progress. What is your timetable? Thank you, Chairman. We would like to set up the Bureau as soon as possible, as set out in the paper for the work involved. We have consulted the ITBP and this panel. After seeking the panel's support, we will be submitting the funding application to ESC. Yesterday at the ITB panel, they asked for a public hearing. I hope one can be arranged as soon as possible so that we can get the ITB panel and your panel's support before submitting it to the ESC. We originally planned to submit it at the ESC meeting at the 30th of April. And then we can submit to FC for funding to create polls. And we are arranging with the Secretariat as to hold the public hearing as soon as possible. I'm also a member of the ITB panel. Yesterday, I was really anxious to see it done. Hong Kong has been criticized all along for investing so little in R&D, and the purpose of my motion is just to urge you to work faster. I hope that once it is done, talented scientists can kickstart their work as soon as possible under the coordination of the government. That is the purpose of my motion. Next, Mr. Felix Zhong. Thank you, Chairman. I support the establishment of the IT Bureau. But innovation and technology. The next step of R&D is intellectual property rights, IP. So why haven't you included IP under this bureau and our patent under this bureau? And in the future, how much will be invested in R&D? The resources invested only accounts for 0.7% of GDP. Comparing ourselves to other advanced economies, they spend at least 2 to 3% GDP on R&D, and that means hundreds of millions of dollars. Can we do that? Thank you, Mr. Zhong, for your question. ITB panel also expressed this view. Intellectual property rights covered a wide scope. They include patent for scientific inventions, as well as copyrights for music, musical works, literature, and also commercial secrets, etc. For example, literature, no technology is involved, and yet copyright or IP does apply, and it is not appropriate, therefore, to put IP under IT Bureau. That's why IP department should remain under CDB. As for investment in R&D, we wish to raise the level from 0.73% of GDP to more. And I can invite my colleague to say more on this point. Thank you, Mr. Zhong, for your question. 0.73% is about the investment in R&D as expressed in GDP ratio. And we, of course, would like to raise the ratio in both the private and public sector. Concerning the public sector, mostly has to do with UGC and RGC in tertiary education. As well as the government's research centers and R&D work in various government departments. The vision of the proposed bureau is to realize or commercialize R&D results so that they won't stay inside labs or in universities. We would also promote the work of R&D centers. In the private sector, the investment indeed is just too little. It's the ratio of 6 to 4, whereas in other countries it's 7 to 3, but 7 being from the private sector. And we hope that in the future we can promote the investment in R&D in private sector. I still have some time left. Once the R&D result matures, will it move on from this proposed bureau to CDB for further development? The Intellectual Property Department is responsible for registering IP rights and patents. Of course, it's for the inventor to apply for registration of the patent, but the registration is done by the IP department. Mr. Sin Chung Kai. I hope I have made myself clear yesterday. Now, everything has to do with technology, as Mr. Wong Ting Kwang puts it. I agree, but it doesn't mean that the only so little is to be included under IT Bureau. Now, I'm not opposing for the sake of opposing. I'm being objective. For example, communications in the future should also come under this bureau. It has to do with technology, right? The whole Silicon Valley is about communications. There is no reason why this is not included. Advertisement, creative industries, they should all be in. They should all come under this bureau, so that we all have a happy ending. I will seek your response. There were criticisms by members yesterday.
Thank you for your questions. In fact, the Bureau has a very wide scope of responsibilities. There are 5 R&D centers. We've got the Cyber Port, the Science Park, and also the Hong Kong Productivity Council. And 2 branches will also be moved to the new Bureau. That's 637 under the OGCIO. Together with the contract staff, there are several thousands. And then under the IT Commission, there are 200 odd staff members. Together with the organizations, as I just mentioned, well, this is going to be a very big bureau. In terms of resources and scope of work, the new bureau will cover a lot. We hope that it will have sufficient resources to focus on innovation and technology. Many young people would like to develop in innovation and technology, and also information technology. No, you're not really giving room for the new bureau to develop. Rather, you are confining its development. You have only carved out a bit to the new bureau. This is called the Innovation and Technology Bureau. I think you should include the 2 things I mentioned just now. Please think about it. Broadcasting and communications should be better left in the CEDB, because it's just about regulation and not really development. Even if we move it to the new bureau, because of resource constraint, perhaps there is even less room for the bureau to develop. Mr. Charles Mock, thank you. I tabled a proposal which was done in February, so it's just for members' information. Not long ago, I wrote an article for a newspaper on the new ITB. For innovation and technology, we need to move ahead in full steam, although therefore we must move forward speedily, and we should not drag our feet because of some worries. The industry, as well as practitioners of the industry, agree that we must kickstart the Bureau as soon as possible. We like to say that we are much slower than Singapore. Now, I know that the current proposal is not perfect, and things can be done in different ways. If we have to wait until there is perfect agreement among us, then I'm afraid we really cannot compete with places like Singapore. However, I hope that the administration, perhaps not Mr. So's bureau, can have some criteria. EU has got an innovation scorecard. There are 25 indicators, such as drivers, enterprise activities, and output in 8 areas. Now, I'd like to share with you human resources, openness, and a system that can attract R&D, financial resources, investment from enterprises, entrepreneurship, and innovation, and also economic outcome. All right. You talk about human resources and intellectual property investment. So I'm sure there must be coordination among different departments. And when it comes to education, we don't know whether our education is good or not. We say that the Education Bureau is not doing a good job in IT education. We may as well ask the new bureau to take up education in this regard, but we know it's difficult. And as for intellectual property, now what about copyright, design, and copyright of books? It is acceptable to include these things in the new bureau, but perhaps this is not the only way to do things. Broadcasting. I hope that the administration can take note of the following. After a review of the current legislation, you can consult the industry to see whether broadcasting can be subsumed under this bureau. And then Mr. So said the BA is mainly a regulator. Can you perhaps the development of broadcasting can be considered by ITC and OGCIO. CA knows that it is only a regulator. It is not going to promote the development of the broadcasting industry. Perhaps OGCIO is already doing Digital 21. It is already promoting the communications or telecommunications industry. The future bureau should play the role of a coordinator, and it should cooperate with all other bureaus and departments. If the bureau is indeed to be set up, I hope the government can include its policy its policy review as to how the efficiency of the bureau can be improved. I don't know whether the government can give us the undertaking now, but at least you should consider that. Because technology develops by leaps and bounds, and your policy must closely shadow what is happening there. And if you discuss whether this part should go into this bureau or whether that bit can go into the bureau, of course, we can continue this discussion, but please don't let us drag our feet. Now, the industry. Now, I'm not just referring to the bosses, but the practitioners. Practitioners of the industry are very concerned. They don't want the proposal to drag on. Now, Ms. Emily Lau said that asked administration not to forget its undertaking after the proposal is endorsed. But in fact, the practitioners in the industry will be so happy if the proposal is approved. All right, just these are just my comments. I'll see if the secretary has anything to respond. I agree that there is bound to be overlapping in technology, and there must be collaboration among government departments and bureaus. And because of the overlapping nature, there is no single way to do things. We believe the current proposal is a more appropriate arrangement. But due to changes in circumstances in the future, we remain open as to whether there should be adjustment in the future. I think there is a consensus that the Bureau should be established as soon as possible. So when the Secretary assumes office, let's see how experts from the industry can join the Bureau to advise him. So, Mr. Lo Wai Kwong, first I have to declare interest. I declare interest at yesterday's ITB panel. I'm a member of the board of the Science Park, and I think the Commissioner for Innovation and Technology is also here. You have my full support for the establishment of the ITB because the industry has been fighting very hard for many years to no avail. It has been so difficult. Mr. Tam Wai Ho and myself and a few members of the industry took to the streets quite rarely. It's quite rare for people from the IT industry to take to the streets. So we asked why there wasn't an IT bureau. And for the Trade and Technology Bureau, even its name was changed to remove the reference to technology. When the CEO announced in this year's policy address that the ITB is going to be established, he had applause, and I think that's one of the highlights of this year's policy address. We want the Bureau to be established as soon as possible, and we also want the proposal to be improved. Now, we're saying that the IP department should be put under this. Of course, there are patent-related work under the department. But if you call this Innovation and Technology Bureau, well, even the CIO is now put under this bureau. Protection of intellectual property and related work is also very important. If we can put it under the ITB, then things would be perfect. I reflected my view to the Secretary a number of times before, and while we believe that this should be how the proposal should be adjusted, but if the undertaking is to pass the proposal first for the organization chart to be adjusted in the future, and if the ITB's future work will not be confined to what the ITC and OGCIO is doing, and that more can be done, then I won't oppose to the proposal. If Mr. So said that the IP department should be left out of the Bureau first, I won't object to the proposal, because it is the industry's aspiration that the Bureau be set up as soon as possible. And some members of the Council have forewarned that there will be filibustering. This is something we are very sad to see. We don't want interference with our business in this way, regardless of the objectives and aspirations of members planning to filibuster. I hope they will not do it at the expense of the ITB. This is the wish of the industry. Perhaps Mr. Su would like to respond, or I understand that the organization chart cannot be changed at once. I thank Mr. Low for his support and the early establishment of the ITB. I heard Mr. Low's comments on the IP department. I think the overlap between the work of the IPD and the ITB is patent, but the IP department is also responsible for copyright in literary works, music, and trademark and design and commercial secrets, so on and so forth. The intellectual property department is heavily involved in such matters. Because we want to develop Hong Kong into an IP trading center, so it will be best if the IPD can remain in the CEDB. And Mr. Low would want the ITB to increase its terms of reference in the future, and I don't mind reviewing the structure in the future. Thank you. Mr. So, I think you've heard the comments of many members. We all want the Bureau to be established as soon as possible. As regards how the division of labor should be, well, different people may have different views, and there can be no perfect model. Still, we want the Bureau to be set up as soon as possible, as you've heard from many members. I'd like to deal with Mr. Wong Ting Kwong's motion, which is tabled. Ms. Emily Lau. So I'm going to join the other panel on that public hearing. This is a major business, and I think it is unreasonable that if we don't have any public hearing. Now, if the motion is passed, if members would like to join the public hearing, I'm sure the other panel will welcome members to sit in their meetings. Judging from members' comments, I think we all want the Bureau to be established as soon as possible. So why don't we deal with this motion first? Even if the motion is passed, that doesn't mean that members of this panel cannot take part in that public hearing.
I think for the public hearing, both panels should be involved. Many members took part in yesterday's meeting and today's meeting, and government officials as well. Of course, their panel should take the lead. Well, the officials attending yesterday's meeting and today's meeting are the same. Exactly the same? Yes. So let's deal with this motion. Let me read out the motion's wording. To set up the establish the Innovation and Technology Bureau as soon as possible. As it is all along the community's consensus to establish the Innovation and Technology Bureau, this panel supports in principle the setting up of the Innovation and Technology Bureau as soon as possible. Moved by Mr. Wong Ting Kwong and seconded by Mr. Felix Chung. Should we put this to a vote or what? Those in favor, please raise your hands. Those against? Those abstained? One abstained. Please read out the voting result, Chairman. 4 members voted in favor of it. Wong Ting Kwong, Lo Wai Kwok, Felix Chung, and Charles Mok. Nobody against, and 1 abstention, Ms. Emily Lau. 4-1. This motion is carried. Secretary, this motion has been carried. I hope that the IT Bureau can be established as soon as possible. If members would like to take part in the public hearing held by the ITB panel, you're welcome to do so. Madam Clerk, do you know when this will be? Perhaps it will be on a Saturday morning, on the 24th of May. This is the only available slot. So thank you, Secretary and your team, for attending this meeting. Item 7, any other business? Nothing under AOB. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.